Well, speaking of leading people into sports entertainment, we were led to believe in the next match by Don Fallis, the leader of the Fallis family, that it was going to be the greatest match of the decade between Will Ostrich, and I'm back to calling him Take a now. Boy, howdy, did they all take a right in the middle of the ring with it. So they obviously, there was no reason for this match to happen. It was blurted out by Don Fallis himself that, we can't find any competition, so members of my family are going to face each other with the thought of having the greatest match of the decade, which, of course, makes absolutely no sense why he would want this to happen, because why would the evil manager care about having the greatest match of anything or a good match or whatever when his guys would be fighting? It would create dissension and ill will in his group. He wouldn't want that because one of his guys has to lose. So this made no sense. And Brian, you and I, looking deeper, analyzed this as well. They fucked up. They realized that they signed Ostrich and put him in the heel group 3 months ago, and then let him come back and go back and finish his New Japan commitments, and then come back, and now they realize they got no baby faces worth of shit. The people are cheering their heels and booing the baby faces out of the building. So they're going to switch this. They're going to make Ostrich a baby face. And that's why he came out the other night slapping hands and shaking hands and smiling at the fans and giving the rah-rah speech and everybody cheering him, being happy. But then Take a Shit was glaring at him, and you could smell something was going to happen. Okay, so Ostrich is going to win. The heel group is going to turn on him, and now everybody's in the right place. Except that's not what they fucking did. What they did was nothing. They had a match, and it was over. And nobody did shit. And I assume that it was our boy Willie that was calling this thing, because between him and Take, he's the veteran. And he's the new big glorious signee that's going to be a game changer. So I'm assuming he's calling this thing. He's been in Japan too long. They start out and they start wrestling, and the fans start doing the fucking ole, 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 ole soccer chant deal for him because he's from England. Did you see what they did?
What did they do?
They kept right on doing their chain wrestling. He didn't stop. He didn't fucking milk them. He didn't work with. He didn't let the people have their fucking thing. They're enjoying doing the ole, 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 which had nothing to do with the goddamn dry-ass chain wrestling. It was so dry you had to watch it in the rain that was going on at the same time. Two different things were happening. And he can't listen to people, because you don't listen to people in Japan. Because it doesn't make any sense if you do. That's why all these guys are fucking poisoned. Both these guys are athletic. They're in shape. They can move. They do all the same things that everybody else on this roster do, but they usually execute them either quicker, sharper, or better. But there is no breakout superstar here. Take has plenty of potential, as we've talked about, and he needs to be trained and guided and produced and brought along. He's not like gonna fucking just instantly break out like he is right now. Neither is Ostrich, because he doing more of the same shit that everybody else on the show has already done for the past 5 years, just a little better. This is not a Braun Breaker situation where by force of personality a motherfucker's going to smash himself into the main events. They stood in the middle of the ring and traded chops and forearms. And then at one point, Take gave Will a superplex and got a 2 count, and then grabbed a chin lock on him. I'm glad he still kept working the same body part that is affected by the superplex off the top rope. You see what I'm saying? Just doing shit. And Take a Shit's the heel, but he's not cheating. and he doesn't have heat. And Ostrich is the babyface, but he's in the heel group. And the heel manager is on color, putting them both over. And still can't explain why he wanted this to happen. And that's why I wrote this. As this plods along, I fail to see how this match is noticeably different from any other AEW match, except these guys are in better shape. And they did several big moves in a row they didn't sell and popped right up from them. Then they got on their knees and traded forearms. Then they got on their feet and traded forearms. Can they watch tape from the 80s to learn how to work? Oh, wait a minute. There's more. Take acted like he was knocked out by a forearm and the referee was checking him. And so after Ostrich has knocked him out with the forearm and the referee's checking him, and Will goes over and doesn't cover him, he pulls him up by the hair and gives him taunting kicks in the corner. And he's the babyface. Then they do a brief gymnastics routine, followed by false finishes. Then Take gave Ostrich some kind of suplex in the corner and almost broke his neck, dropped him straight down.
That was brutal. Not just his neck, but he even showed the mark at the media scrum afterwards, his back.
Yes.
Oh my God. For a guy that has injury issues or, wrestles this style, that's brutal.
Well, the thing is, those ropes will rip all the skin off of you. He dropped him straight down. And then at one point, Take hit a couple of really nice moves that looked good. Don't know what, what they call them. But Ostrich popped right up without even registering it and leveled Takeshita and covered him, and then Takeshita kicked out at one. And this is all the shit that makes modern wrestling interchangeable and unwatchable, because it's just this constantly. And yes, the AEW fans, they just love that stuff. And that's why that it damages the business and it's constricting, because we've all seen all this so much that there's fewer and fewer people that will stick with it to see more of it. And then, by the way, Ostrich hits the Styles Clash, and Sockface called it that.
What's he supposed to call it?
Supposed to call it a what a maneuver rather than remind everybody of a big star on another fucking show. And then Ostrich did the double arm deal and dropped Take right on his head. It looked like it broke his neck, but he didn't cover him. Even though he's laying there motionless, he pulled off his elbow pad, came from behind while Take was on his knees, and Ostrich slapped his leg with his left hand while swinging his right arm over the top of Takeshita's head. And there was no way for Takeshita to take a bump. He just had to collapse, and he covered him 1, 2, 3. So out of all these goddamn big moves in this match, the shittiest looking thing is the finish. And then, as I mentioned, nothing happened. Don gets in the ring to check on Takeshita. Here comes Kyle Felcher, the other juvenile delinquent involved in this group. He comes down to the ring, and you think, okay, well, here's going to be the deal. Now they're all going to turn on Ostrich. Ostrich and Takeshita bowed to each other. Don left the ring, and the announcer said, well, Wednesday night on Dynamite on TV, it's going to be Will Ostrich versus Kyle Felcher. And Ostrich and Felcher then give each other a big hug and walk out together holding hands up the ramp. What the fuck is this?
Well, there it is. That was a hell of a match. Now, I will say a lot of people are saying it was match of the year, obviously.
What? Wait, hold on. What in the... Brian, match of the... Even if you like the fucking twinkle toes style of wrestling that these people have adopted, this wasn't even the best of that. Was this the best of something that you have seen this year, no matter what that particular subject may be?
It wasn't my match of the year. I didn't hate it, but I also kind of knew what to expect. They weren't going to all of a sudden work a different style. I didn't expect it was just a weird dynamic too, like you said, the heel manager on commentary putting both of these guys over. But...
Well, that's what they told no story. There is no story to tell. There is no reason for this. There's no...
That's not AEW's strong suit, storytelling. It's more about in-ring, do what you can, balls to the wall.
So people are calling this a potential match of the year.
There are people who are raving about this match, saying match of the year, one of the great matches. There are people calling this the greatest pay-per-view of all time, apparently. Again, not what I think, but I've seen people doing it, and it's stunning.
Okay, well, you know what? If I'd only been born 40 years later, I could have gotten a wrestling business. Instead of being a manager, I could have been the goddamn biggest wrestling star in the world because it's so easy now. And they don't care whether you fucking look like anything or not. And you can, goddamn, when I got into business, I was almost 200 pounds. I'd be Andre the Giant now. The fuck? It's this easy? All righty.